And good morning, fourth graders. Welcome to Eureka Math. What does Eureka mean in English? It's a Latin phrase. What does it mean in English? How does it translate? It means I have found it. And what have we found? We have found the best way to learn math, and from what I understand, that is more valuable than gold itself. Let's take a look at last night's homework before you turn it in. And we're just going to do a few. So let's round to the nearest thousand. So there's our thousand. And we could see that 6,842, what is it closer to? 6,000 or 7,000? Well, there's that 842, and as Peyton was telling us, if it's greater than 5, we round up, so this would be 7,000. Hope you got that one right. Let's go ahead and do one more over here. We'll do D to the nearest 1,000. There's a 6, but look, followed by the 4. So that's going to be less than the midpoint of 6,500, so we would round down. Not down, but just it would stay the same. Let's try a few 10,000s. We'll do this one right here. Okay, it's 88,000. Is that going to be closer to 70? Excuse me, closer to 80,000 or 90,000? Well, it's 88, so that's much closer to 90, so this would be 90,000, way past that midpoint. And we'll do B. This one's kind of funky, 85,001. So we're rounding to the nearest 10,000. Is it closer to 80,000 or 90,000? Think about it. 80,000, 90,000. The midpoint would be 80,000, 85,000. So this is just one more than 85,000. So it would round up to 90,000. And if you look at Peyton's rule, we see a 5 there, so we know that this number goes up. And we'll do one of the 100,000. Let's do this one right here, 3B. And 100,000 there. So 751,447. I know all of these are going to be zeros, but we got to figure out what to do with the 7. Does it go up to an 8 or does it remain a 7? Well, 700,000, 800,000. The midpoint was 750,000. This is 751, so this would round up to 800,000. Okay? Going to go on to our lesson now, and we'll read our objective. It's to use place value understanding to round multi-digit numbers to any place value using real-world applications. So we've already done our sprint. Let's get to our application problem. And it says, we're going to annotate this, of course. And it says, the post office sold 204,789 stamps last week and 93,061 stamps this week. Let's circle both those numbers. What they want to know is about how many more stamps did the post office sell last week than this week. And that word right there, about, that tells us they want an estimate. What do we have to do? Subtract. What do we have to do? Add, multiply. No, it's many more. So we're going to be subtracting the larger number, the smaller number from the larger number. But first we have to do a little bit of rounding. A little bit of rounding in my soul. Here we go. First of all, we got to figure out what place value to round to. What do we think would be the best? I'm thinking the 10,000s. So let's round 204,789 first. So we're going to start off with 200,000, and we'll do 210,000. That's because we're rounding by the 10,000 place, okay? So in our midpoint would be what? What's halfway between 0 and 10? 5. So it'd be 205,000. Okay, where does our number go? It goes to 204,789. Greater than the midpoint or smaller? This is 205. That's 204. So it's definitely a little bit smaller. So we're going to put 204,789 here. What would we round to? Well, if we're not over the midpoint, we round down. So we're at 200,000. Okay. Because we are going to the 10,000 spot, and we can see that that's a 4 there, not a 5 or more. And let's go ahead and make another number line to check the other week. It was 93,061, something a little more we're used to. We put 90,000 here, and what we'll put up top, of course, 100,000. What's in the middle between 90 and 100? 95. In this case, it's 95,000. So now we just have to place our 93,061. Where would 93,061 go? Would it be over 95,000 or below 95,000? Well, it's 93, so it would have to go below 95,000, so that'd be 93,061, and that would round down to 90,000. Now we're not done yet. we have to subtract. So we're going to have 200,000s right here minus 90,000s. So what do we get? I got to do a little bit of borrowing. This becomes a 10. Then it becomes, that's all we need to do. And 0 minus 0 is 0. 10 minus, now this, of course, becomes a 1. 10 minus 9 is 1. And we drop down the 1. So it's 110,000s. I did not teach that well, but we'll have to deal with it. So we could say the post office, because we're doing our writing now, sold about 110,000 more stamps last week. And there we are. Okay, it's time to start working on our concept development. So let's get out a piece of scratch paper. And we're going to write 935,292. And we're going to round this to the nearest 100,000. So there's my ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000. What will it round to? Well, we have a 3 following the 9, and we know the midpoint must be 950,000, so we're at 935,000. So we round up or round down. In this case, what do you think? If you are thinking round down, you are absolutely correct. So we're going to round this down to 900,000. Notice how all the digits now are zeros, and this one stayed the same. It could have gone up to the millions, but it could have gone down to just 900,000, which it did, because this number is below the midpoint. Let's rewrite this number, 935,292. Make our rounded to sign. And this one, we're going to round down to the nearest 10,000, okay? So we're at our nearest 10,000. Which way is this going to round? Will that 3 change to a 4, or will it remain a 3? We can look at the number next to us, and that gives us a pretty good clue. 5 or more, we're going to raise the score, as they say. We can see that 5,292 would be over the midpoint of 35,000, right? The 35,292. So this is going to go up. And remember, all the rest of the numbers will go 0. The ones on this side to the left stay the same. So it's 940,000. Let's try it one more time, but this time, you guessed it, we're going to round to the nearest 1,000. So we have 935,292, and we're going to round to the nearest 1,000, okay? And there we go. So these two are going to stay the same, these two digits. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put 93 there. It's the 5, the 1,000 spot, where we have to discuss, because what's going to happen? Is it going to become a 6 or stay a 5? Well, if we look at the number next to it, we can see that it's below the midpoint of 5, right? It's a 2. So 5,292, so this is going to remain a 5, okay? And everything else, zeros. All right. Let's go to our next problem. And do not write this down. Do not write this down. We're just going to talk about it for starters, and then we'll write it down. So our question is, in the year 2012, there were 935,292 visitors to the White House. So let's take a look. In 2012, visitors to the White House were 935,292. And let's say each visitor is given a map. Now we're going to use this information to predict the number of White House maps needed for visitors in 2013. So here's a little map. You could write this. There's a map. Each visitor gets a map, and now pretend like you're the guy in charge of maps at the White House. Hi, I'm the guy in charge of maps at the White House. The year 2013 is coming up. So we got to figure out what place value to round this number to. Now, let's say we round it to the nearest 10,000. So I'm going to underline the nearest 10,000, which would be 3, 10,000 place value. And which way would we go up? Well, remember, the 9's going to stay the same, right? It's this 3 that's going to remain the same or go up to 4. Because this is beyond the midpoint, the 5,292, this will go up to 4, right? So 940,000. Do you think that'd be a safe number to order? Yeah, I would think so, because even if more people show up, 5,000 more, you'll still have plenty of maps on hand. Now, if you round it up to the nearest I would just stick with that. Excuse me. Let's go back to another problem. And this is about Lincoln Elementary. I used to teach at a school called Lincoln Elementary. And let's pretend 2,837 students attend there. And we're going to try to pretend we're the guy that buys chairs for Lincoln Elementary. Hi, I'm the guy that buys chairs for Lincoln Elementary. And we're going to round this number a few different ways to see how many chairs we should order, okay? So let's go ahead and put our equal squigglies right there. To see what would be the best possible number. So we're going to do some rounding. We're going to round by the thousands, the tens, excuse me, Mr. Leggett, that was bad, the thousands, the hundreds, and we'll round by the tens also, okay? So let's see what kind of numbers we get. I would kind of like you to pause this, or please pause this, and see what you get, okay? See what numbers you get through all this. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a look at the rounding of these numbers. We have 2,837 students. We're rounding to the nearest thousand. So this number is either going to remain at 2 or go up to 3. Now our halfway point would be 2,500. So this tells me that this is closer to 3,837. So this would round to 3,000. All right? Now let's round to the nearest 100. All right, so we have the 8 there. 37, is that closer to 800 or 900? Well, definitely closer to 800. It's not over the 50 mark, the 5 there. So this would round to 2,800. Finally, let's do the tens. What would happen here? Well, we have this 37. Is 37 closer to 40 or 30? Well, definitely closer to 40, so this would become 2,840. So we could figure out, try to figure out what would be the best number of chairs to order. And I'm thinking that probably, because we have this many students there, that just in case some more students show up, I think we'd probably be safe at the 3,000 level. That might be a little too much. Maybe just the 2,840 would be enough chairs for the students. So now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to move on to our problem set. And I will talk to you. I'm going to teach the problem set to you live and in person. And that will be fun. I'm looking forward to that.